probably is, and where you are in Cincinnati, is it?
Yes, Cincinnati.
And 10 days away from Christmas. Can you believe we're at the end of
Don't
2023?
even remind me. Just a few days ago, I thought, oh man, I've got 2 whole weeks. I've got plenty of time. I'm having Christmas at my house, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do.
I know.
The list grows larger and larger of what we get to do.
Yep.
All the time. All the time.
So let me jump here into the Facebook group here and make sure we've got folks watching here. We are live now.
Yay!
And let's see. I don't know if it went. What's going on?
Yeah, we're showing live on my screen too.
Yeah, but I don't see it happening on Facebook here. Let's see.
I've got it live on Facebook.
You can see us?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. We got people saying hi. Say hi in the comments section so we know you're there. I think we got Melissa and let's see. All right. Okay, cool. Now we've got people live. Very, very cool. We are live. Howdy from Corpus Caparis Cove?
It's Corpus Christi. I can't even say it either. Forget it.
Yeah, something like that. It's good to see everybody. And yeah, very cool. It's hard to find. Okay.
I love it.
Very cool. So we're gonna get started here in a second, folks. I've got Senior Vice Presidents Megan and Ryan Williams on with us today, and what we're going to talk to you about is how to speak to prospects, what to say, what to do, and we're going to be talking about multiple different types of scenarios so that you have a lot of ammunition. You know, my dad was an electrician. If you've never heard me talk, then you don't know this. If you've heard me talk, you've heard me talk about my dad all the time. My dad was an electrician. I used to work with him, and there were different things that you had to do as an electrical contractor, and each one of those required a different set of tools, right? So if you've got the right tools and you know how to use the tools, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And that's what my dad taught me to do. And that's why we got these two experts right over here on this side of me who are going to talk about with you tonight. So say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. We're pumped up to have everyone on here with us. And we're ready to go. Ryan, Megan, you all ready to go?
We think so. We think we got the right link for everybody, but we're learning, guys. So we'll make sure we have it as a replay too.
Yeah, we're using what's called Restream to broadcast onto Facebook. So I think this is only the second time I've used this platform, and it's a really good platform once we kind of get used to it and learn it a little bit better, because eventually we're not going to just be on Facebook at one time. We're going to be in a whole lot of different places. We'll have this going. Do you have this? Did you stream it to your YouTube? I didn't notice if you did that or not.
I was trying to do that and start it live to mine, but it wasn't. It's on.
Streaming.
It is streaming?
Yeah, it's just
streaming. Yeah, it's streaming right now.
So we've got this going on Facebook and on Megan's YouTube. Do you want to put the YouTube in the link?
Yeah, let me find that. That's
Anyone
a great
wants to watch there?
My channel. This is so cool. Trying to learn technology. I love it, everybody. I love it.
Very cool. All right, so why don't we get going? You know, we got a lot of folks on here. Listen, if you're in the chat, if you're in on Facebook or wherever you are, take a moment and send the link out to people on your team. Send it out. Make sure they're already in the Facebook group. If they're not in the Facebook group, they've got to join the group first to be able to watch this. But make sure they all know, make sure everyone's watching. And this will be available on Facebook when we're done. So if they miss it live, it's okay. They can get back on here and watch it later on. It'll work perfectly for everybody. No big deal. And, you know, we'll send it out in emails and whatnot. We'll send the link to this and the link to the Facebook group so people can watch later on. So very cool. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. Let's get going. We're going to talk about not how to, but what to say and what to do. We're going to talk about inviting scripts today. And that is so key, Megan and Ryan. I think going into the holidays, we're going to be around people more than we usually are. We're out shopping. We're out going to events. We're going to parties. We may be going to networking events that we haven't been to before, office parties, anything like that. And what we want to do is know what to say and sometimes what not to say when we're around all those people. So let me get to this next slide here and let's talk a little bit first about some guidelines and some things to think about when you are, why is this not going? There it goes. Okay. When you're out and prospecting, what is it that we have to do before we even think about our scripts? We've got to think about making sure we're checking some boxes, that we're not doing things wrong and we're doing everything the right way. So Ryan and Megan, why don't y'all take it over from here and talk about these really, really important guidelines?
Well, I think the biggest thing is everything that you do needs to be genuine. And I know that's at the bottom of the list, but I want you to think about that first, because as you're talking to people and you're asking them questions, you want to be listening for cues that could spark a future conversation about business, because really it's about timing for that person. When you say, Ryan, and the holidays will bring a lot of stress, but also a lot of, people are looking for some hope. And so if we're excited about what we're doing, what's been going on, we're going to attract that to us. But we really need to be authentic and genuine with what we're doing, because it makes such a big difference.
And a lot of it too comes down to other people, right? At the end of the day, it's not about us trying to project or interject ourselves into the lives of people, but this is a time to connect and get caught back up. Like, find out where people are at, and not for the sake of pouncing on opportunity, but it's just actively listening, right? It's just being in tune with what's going on around you, being genuinely interested in the conversations you have. Again, not for a particular agenda, just for the sake of being a good person, to listen to people and where they're at and what's going on. Some people had a great 2023. Some people had a very difficult 2023. And as you're talking to people at these social events, be yourself. Don't go after people. At the end of the day, the analogy given to me a long time ago is there are people that hunt and there are people that fish. And if you think about it, when a prey feels they're being hunted, like deer season, the deer run. Well, you do not want to go into an environment, a family gathering, and be a hunter where people are running from you because they can sense that you're on the prowl to get a kill. That's not the environment of the social gatherings that you want to be in. You want to be a fisherman, right? Where you're listening, you're finding what's going to be out there to potentially even use what we're going to discuss here in future follow-ups, but use this as an informational gathering, but be genuine about your desire to want to connect. Of course, be excited about what's going on in your life, but it's about asking questions, right? Genuinely asking questions about that person, their family, their circumstances. What are they looking forward to? Like those kind of things.
No, I love that, Ryan. That's a perfect way to be. So always keep that in mind.
What is an open-ended question?
Yeah. Well, an open-ended question would be something that's not just like a yes and no. Like, do you have any, really cool plans for your family this year? Or are you happy with your job that you've got right now? Again, it's making them tell you things. What was probably your favorite thing you did last year? Again, you want to prevent yes and no answers. You want to try to find out what they're looking for. Now, when you're dealing with cold market and it's quick, it won't be quite that open-ended. It will be a little more focused, but what you're trying to do is find out where they are in their life for timing, positioning, and everything. You know what I mean? And like Brian said, it's not about your agenda needs to be set aside as you're really listening to them perfectly.
And when we talk about open-ended questions, as Megan said, it's trying to, there are naturally some questions that'll be yes or no, but in those circumstances where you do ask a yes or no type question, in your mind, it's a follow-up, right? Tell me more about that. I'd like to learn more about that. Share more about that, right? So you're expanding the opportunity that if you think about it for a moment, think about a memorable experience you had with another person, anyone. And the truth is, in that environment, you probably were asked opportunities or given opportunities to talk about yourself, about your circumstances, about your situation. And you said, man, that Megan was just a good listener. I really enjoyed the time I had with them. It's not that you overwhelmed the conversation, but you're overwhelming the conversation by saying, I want to learn as much as I can about Megan or that environment or that person you're with. Again, for being a genuine person wanting to learn about the people you're in environments with.
Very cool. I love that. And it's important to also understand that if you've got someone who's not a good fit for this, you need to be selective. Think of this as a two-way street, right? You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. and deciding if there's a fit. So that's always important. And I love the fact that, ask questions, but make sure you're asking them in your voice. Don't get to a script and ask people questions that in a way that you wouldn't normally ask a question, right? Be yourself, be genuine. I think that's probably the most important thing.
And Bears, you made a great point, right? Sometimes we get too fixated on our objective and our goal, right? So you go into a conversation and in your mind, you've got this list set of questions or processes. And so you're going to ask a question and you almost are not caring what that person is saying because you're trying to process what your next thing is. And honestly, that's where it comes back to genuineness, right? What we're trying to do is connect with people for the purposes of communication, right? It's to communicate effectively, you've got to connect. And that's really all we're going to share. If you were to boil down this entire conversation we're going to have right now, it's about connection and communication. If you can genuinely connect, then you'll communicate more effectively. And that's what we're trying to do in this business is connect and communicate. Communicate ideas, principles, objectives, goals, and connect with people so that when they leave you, they're like, man, that Bears guy was awesome. I enjoyed that interaction. I didn't feel like the dude was coming after my neck because he has some agenda fixated on me becoming part of his organization or sales team or something like that. Like he just wanted to learn about me. And like there was a general connection about that.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. So let's talk now about some scripts. And when we go through these, folks, we're going to put the script up on the screen. I encourage you to take a screenshot, write it down, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you have it for your sake, so you can use it whenever you need it. So let's go to the first one. The first thing we're going to do is talk about a general type of script that people might use no matter where they are. They could use this probably with anybody, maybe a couple little tweaks here and there. But let's talk about this script and how you use it and when you use it.
Well, I think the big thing is to let, when you finally see that they might be the person that you're going to talk to or you want to introduce it is, and again, some of these places you're not going to actually go into this. This will be a secondary conversation because of timing, but we'll get to that. But, when you talk about you're working on a business project that you're really excited about, or, we've added some really great things this year. Do you ever look at other ways to either, make money, save money? You can decide where that conversation is going, but you just want to keep it. You're excited about something and you want to share it with them. And sometimes you may not go directly, well, do you look at other ways to make money? You might say, I'm really excited about a project I'm working on. Can I share a little bit with you to see if you might think of some people, or you might even like this idea to make money this year? So again, you might vary it a little bit, tone it down a tad bit as you're talking to people, I would say.
And it's honest because every conversation you have with another person is going to be different, right?
That's right.
And again, this is where it comes down to it. If I'm talking to someone that happens to be in the healthcare field, can we all agree the last 2 years has been quite difficult for people in the healthcare field? The answer is yes. They were overwhelmed through COVID. There are a lot of things that they dealt with. Yes, they can make good money because of overtime, but there's stresses that come along with that. So if I happen to be having a conversation with someone in healthcare, I would certainly start with, man, thank you for what you did, right? Like your field, how did you deal with that? Like I genuinely want to know how that person is dealing and feeling, because ladies and gentlemen, there might be people that are frustrated by 18-hour work weeks, 6 days a week. And you'll learn that by asking genuine, real questions to find out about that person. And then you start with, hey, listen, I don't know if this might be a fit or not, but I'm working on a project I'm really excited about. I'd like an opportunity to schedule a time outside of the meeting, outside of our party or social gathering we're in right now. Let's schedule time to grab a cup of coffee or get together and maybe have a cup of cocoa and discuss some options if that seems right, right? So we're working on a project that we're excited about, and this might be a good fit for you. Let's schedule some time and talk that through, right? Real simple, real easy.
Yep.
So here's something that's really important when you're doing this is for a conversation to take place, there needs to be two different points of view, right? Otherwise, you don't really have a conversation. It's really important that you take the opposite point of view of a person that you want them to take. Here's what I mean. So if Ryan said to me, I talked to Ryan, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a police officer. Oh, you must really hate that. It must be dangerous, right? He's going to say, no, I love being a police officer. I help you. You need to flip the script, right? You must love that. You probably feel great all the time. You're like, when I first found out about this business, the person who talked to me about it asked me what I did. I said I was an elementary school band director. Now he could have said, you must hate that. The kids are disgusting. They don't practice. They forget their instruments. And I'd say, actually, no, I have a pretty good band. My kids, and I would have defended what I did. Instead, he said, you must love that and you must make a lot of money. And I said, well, actually, I don't make as much money as I'd like to. And there, you understand, now we've got the right kind of conversation. So make sure you're on the right side of the conversation so you can get the right response from people as well.
I love it. All right, for timing, let's go to the next one because I want to talk a little bit about this. When we're talking to professionals, so a lot of us are going to have end of the year work parties. We're going to have networking events where, they start, happy hours start. And I will say it's usually the first 45 minutes you can have a normal conversation. Then people are just having fun. So, be careful on your timing on this. But one of the things that Ryan and I really like goes right with what you were just saying, Bearish, about complimenting them on what they're doing. So again, you want to say, oh my goodness, you're in real estate. How's that going? I bet you're doing so fantastic, even though I know the market's a little bit frustrating right now. You're such a hard worker. So you're complimenting it. And then you could say something like, hey, we could enhance what you've already created and add to it to give you more value to your clients, would you want to have a discussion? So again, what we're doing is we're complimenting. Oh, great. You're a fantastic doctor, dentist. You're a fantastic lawyer. What if you could enhance those relationships and add something to it that could bring them more value through a strategic relationship or partnership with us? So again, you're taking what they're already doing good, you're complimenting them, and you're asking them, would you be open to a conversation to enhance it? I'm actually having one of those next Thursday for lunch with a really good friend of mine where she was having so much success in real estate, had some very devastating family situations go on. And we just saw each other at a Christmas party yesterday. And then when I texted her and I said, we need to catch up. I'm so excited to hear all the things you're doing. And I know we can always, enhance each other's relationships. And she's like, heck yeah, let's get together next week. So again, what are you doing? You're elevating them, you're complimenting them, and then you're just offering to enhance, not take away.
And I would always err on the side of success than failure, right? So highlight the positives of somebody. Again, if I was talking to bears, I would actually highlight. My advice is positive always. If a person's frustrated, let them share that, but don't take the low road saying, oh, you must hate your job as a police officer. They're going to defend themselves. No. You must really, be committed to your profession. I have so much respect and admiration for what you're doing to put yourself on the line. Like, again, being genuine and realistic about these conversations. And here's, again, going on what Megan is talking about as far as a parallel for people that are professional, successful people. A lot of the people that Megan and I are talking to, and likely many of you, these are six-figure, very successful people. They're not poor. They're not desperate. They're not broke. They're doing really well. And so what we're simply trying to do is say, share an idea that we're excited about growth and expansion. And we'd love to share this idea, this opportunity, this business we're growing for objective opinion. We'd love your insights. There may be people in your network or sphere that could benefit from what we're doing and expanding. So it's an indirect way of sharing the information that we do as a business genuinely, because if they're interested, great. And if they're not interested, we told them honestly, we just want to share with them what we're doing because they might know someone in their sphere who could utilize what we're doing.
That's right.
So the adage is learn to sell through, not to. People feel pressured if they feel like you're selling to them versus learning to sell through them. And there's a huge difference in the way that is received to the people. But it all, again, comes back down to genuineness, right? Be genuine about learning to go through those individuals to their network, because it'll expand your reach far greater.
That's right.
Ryan, I know if you asked me if I knew anybody who, who would want to save 30 to 70% on their healthcare, I wouldn't say, yeah, so-and-so, if I wanted to save 30 to 70% on my healthcare. I would say me. So, and I feel disarmed because you weren't trying to sell to me. So that's very true. So while we're out and about, and maybe we're in this long line at Target, or we're at some Christmas event that we have a lot of people there that we've never met, and we're talking to total strangers, what do we say to them? How do we handle that type of a situation?
Well, again, as you're meeting people, the biggest thing that I do when I work a room, I don't know, Ryan always loves watching me work a room, is I'm just finding out something about them that I like. And as I'm connecting and they're responding, then I might say, hey, later, after this party, let's connect. I'd love to see if there's some synergy with what you're doing in your business and company, with what I'm doing with my projects this year. We could both win and make some money. So again, a lot of times I am, just finding out something I liked about them. I compliment, and then I get a message. Now, I'm going to tell you, for me, when I'm working a room, I'll say, right then I'll say, we need to connect. Let me text you. And then I get their name and their phone number actually first. And then I send a text. This is Megan. We just met at the party. And then I literally turn my camera so it's a selfie with the two of us. And I send it to them, because then they'll remember who I was later. I learned that when I went to a really big event in Las Vegas, because I was networking with so many people, I couldn't remember everybody. And so I started to text them and me, and then I had a picture of us. So when I did send another message, they remember, oh, that was the quirky girl with the system shirt on. So it was really good. So I think really when you're at a party and you're meeting people and you love how they know people, you got to compliment. You got to find out, what a trigger is, and then ask for later. Can we stay connected for later? Because it's not always the right place to talk business. Yeah. I don't like to do that when I'm at the party.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you're doing at these social parties is, you know what I mean? We're probably every night of the week, you are all going to some type of social event through Christmas and New Year's. But really what you're doing is you're really just trying to find people with a similar energy, right? There are some people that walk in the room that brighten it when they walk in, and there's some people that a dark cloud follows them in, right? So when you're in a room, you can almost just sense people's energies. And Megan has a great way of bringing energy herself, which she does all the time, but she finds like-minded energy to attract one another. So again, as you're going through the room, it's not that you're scouting the room for the purposes of your own agenda, but we happen to be positive, happy people excited about the future. So we naturally are gravitated towards the people that just kind of have that that energy. Like they're not the ones hiding in the corner behind a bush. Are not the ones we're running up to and go, hey, I'd love to meet you, Jeff. You know what I mean? Or whatever, right? So it's the people that are engaging are the ones we engage with the most. So
that's
again,
right.
Connect.
That's all. This is great stuff. So what if someone is new? They just got started, right? They don't know a whole lot about how networking works. They don't know a whole lot about network marketing. They may not even know that much yet about ACN. What do they say? What do they do if they're brand new?
Well, here's the deal. When you're brand new, you can't be the expert perfectly, but you can be excited about who you're working with, and you can take the traits of who you're talking to and find a similarity to who you're working with and see if they're open to a conversation. So I would really say that when you're new, you just need to be excited about what you're going to be working on this year. That it's dealing with healthcare or energy or essential services. But more importantly, it's the group that you're working with and how you can't believe how supportive they are. And they're so professional, and they make them think of you, Jim. I can't believe it. They're just your kind of people. You've been so successful in business all these years. Would you be open to letting me connect us? Because I know you could maybe even give me some referrals, or you might think of people to know because you've been an expert in X, Y, and Z. And these guys are so professional, and I can't believe what they're helping me do. and you talk more about connecting more people together, not about the project itself.
This is such a big emphasis. If I can stress again, it is about connecting the person you're talking to another person that you think would be a good contact, right?
Yes.
If you can learn to connect people, it becomes less important about the thing, because as people, we're wired to connect with people, not to learn about things. So people will go out of their way to meet a person versus to go see something, right? Now, some people go just see things, but it really is, as Megan said, it's about connecting them. So if I'm talking to a person and it's an attribute, a characteristic, something about them, I would then tell a story or a connection point to that person about someone in this project or this business that I'm developing and growing for 2024 that I'd love to have them meet, because I think it could benefit them. And I genuinely believe that that connection is going to benefit that person, whether they ever choose to become part of this business or not. I truly believe in the deep part of my soul that connecting good people with other people is never a bad thing.
That's right.
Even if it doesn't meet what I thought was my initial agenda or purpose, was trying to help them learn about my business or my services or products, I have found great success in just connecting good people together. And they're like, hey, although this may not have monetarily benefited me, which it is the point, guys, we do want to build our business. But what I'm saying is my objective is genuine in that I really want to connect two people together for the sake of the growth of people.
Yeah. And I think that that's what we got to think about anytime, is whether or not it's at a party or it's during the year next year. When you connect people, it is really about them. Like, I just had an ornament party with a ton of my ladies from all different walks of life. Some of them I do business with, some of them I go to church with, some of them I just network with, and then they started connecting and they started making friends. And that's even better than whether or not they join my team or become a customer. It is about helping people realize that everyone can bring something better, because then when the time comes when I need a favor or I need to ask for support for my business, they're going to remember that I helped them and was just genuine before. And it's going to make it so much easier to ask them for something later when it's the right fit. So that's our thought.
And that second option, we've got two scripts up on the screen. The second option is what we call an indirect approach, right? So I'm not talking to Ryan and say, Ryan, this is a person I want you to meet. Do you know anyone, Ryan, that would be a good fit for this person? And if Ryan happens to be the guy, he's going to raise his hand and say, that's me, or he's going to introduce you to other people. So if you're nervous about connecting Ryan to Megan or to Berge or to Presley or to whomever, then you can go through Ryan, as he was talking about before, do business through someone and use that indirect approach. Do you know anyone who is X, Y, or Z?
That's right. Absolutely.
And don't think of this as odd or obscure, because people ask all the time, like, if you had a child who is sick and you're looking for a pediatrician, wouldn't it be natural to ask a person who also might have children, if you learn about that, like, hey, do you happen to have a recommendation for a pediatrician? The same concept applies, but when we get in business, we start distorting the reality that we're all connected to people. And there may be certain points where if you're talking to someone who doesn't have children, then asking them about a good pediatrician referral probably is not a good question to ask that person, because they may not exactly be the person who has the best contacts for that, but maybe they have a good mechanic or a good whatever. Same thing for our business. So based upon them, their nature, their background, their connections, hey, I would love to share what I'm doing. I'm excited about this project. And you might know someone that could be a good fit. Think of it like talent recruiting, right? If you know a person is looking for a receptionist at the front office, you might ask somebody you're talking to, hey, do you know anyone who's looking for career opportunities for 2024? I got a friend with an opening. Essentially, guys, we have openings in our positions, right?
Yeah.
We have openings that are looking to be filled by people that are interested in growing something for themselves in 2024. So again, it's just as simple as that. It's not any different. Yes, it's self-employed, it's independent, building and growing for yourself. But guys, we're going into a society and an environment where self-employed, independent self-contractors, people are looking for their own side gigs, side opportunities. It is more common now than it has ever been before for people to be looking for alternative ways, especially with the economic to enhance what they're doing. especially because of the economic factors outside of their control, mortgage rates, interest rates, inflation, civil unrest, whatever. There's a lot of things out there that we cannot control that cause concerns, anxiety, and pressures on people. Even AI, we have no idea how many industries are going to be completely destroyed or disrupted in a negative way for employees' employment, income opportunity, because AI will replace their industry. Okay. Copywriters, there's a lot of industries that are going to be severely impacted by AI in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, look how far AI has gone in the last 12 months. Imagine 24 months from now, how much further down the road that technology will be and what industries will no longer be viable for a career. They're going to look for career options, and this can be a great option for people to consider.
Yeah. And I think with finishing up today, when people start asking you questions, when you're cold marketing, this is very important. You have to be the expert. Now, you can talk about connecting people when you're new, but at the same time, you have to have posture and you have to have a little bit of backbone that what you are doing, is good. So again, even if you're asking for someone's opinion, or even if you're asking to work through them, you have to have that confidence, quote, as an expert. Not that you know all the answers as the expert, but you have to have the confidence of an expert. So for example, if someone starts asking you a million questions, say, these questions are fantastic. And that's why I know we're going to have such a great time connecting, but we're dealing with what I've got hold of is essential services, billion-dollar industries like energy and healthcare. But we're not going to talk about it right now. I can't wait for us to connect, and then we'll go through it. Compliment them. Man, you're so smart to even ask me these questions. You're exactly the kind of person I'm looking forward to connecting with. And again, you go back to the synergy of when you meet these other guys, you're going to love it. So again, it's not that you're being evasive. Don't tell people you can't tell them about it. Don't act like it's a secret. That stuff is so annoying, and it's so like subterfuge. And then I find out later from people, sneaky. They're like, I went and met with them, and then all of a sudden they threw up this business presentation on me, and that's not why I went to meet them. No. When you finally do get that set up, they know they're going to talk business, but you need to be an expert enough to tell them, especially with whatever the conversation is it energy or healthcare or whatever it is that you're excited about. But please don't act ignorant like you can't tell them, because nobody wants to work with anybody who can't tell them something. Right, Ryan? I mean, that's the one thing I learned from my orange apple over here. So
orange apple, is that what you said?
Yeah, I'll teach that analogy another time. Okay.
So the 2 points from this, Megan, are if you are meeting someone that you never knew before, so that's cold marketing, right? Someone that you don't know, you can be the expert because they don't know me as a band director. They know me as an expert in whatever it is that I'm telling them when we first meet. But if you're talking to someone who is in your warm market, someone you already know, someone who's familiar with your background, then you let someone else be the expert.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Am I on point with that?
I'm just laughing at all the good comments. You guys are making good comments. Here's the best part that you always know. Everything you do is practice. Everything you do is just preparing you for the next person that you meet. And you can always go back and say, hey, I kind of threw up all over you. I want to start over again, and just laugh at yourself and not take it seriously, because then people want to do business with you. You guys. So I appreciate that Bears put our live together today. It was so much fun to connect with everybody, but we should have this live for a while, right, Bears? So people can go back and watch it.
It'll be on here until Facebook decides to shut its doors.
I love it. I love it. So I would say, Ryan, for us, really the biggest thing is just to have fun meeting people. Always gather more names and numbers, because we never know when the timing's right to have that business conversation. But it's just great to just make new friends and to connect with people and find what's good for them. So I love it.
And never be afraid to mess up. I love that. We're always practicing, right?
That's right.
Don't be afraid. Don't allow the fact that you don't think you're good at it yet to prevent you from getting better at it by practicing it. And the only way to practice it is to really go out and do it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. This was fun. I love doing a Facebook Live, and it went to my YouTube, you guys. I'm actually like,
How cool
really,
is that?
yeah,
On YouTube and Facebook at the same time.
I know. That was awesome.
No
We're
wonder
gonna
I
have
felt a
to,
little bit dizzy.
yeah, we'll have to practice this some more with some of our training.
This is great.
Very cool. So thanks everyone for being on. We may have one. I think Megan, we may be doing one next week on inviting for services.
Yes, I think that's our next plan.
Tuesday,
Is
yeah. So you'll see that come up on Facebook. How did that? Where'd the thumbs down come? No, thumbs up, thumbs up.
up. I know.
That's Zoom's new update. That if you
But
do
we're
like
not, we're not on Zoom.
We're
We're
not
not on Zoom.
it's still algorithms, AI technologies getting into
See?
all stuff where you have
AI,
hand
scary.
signals.
There we go. Now we got it
Yeah.
working.
Yeah, that's just AI built into these softwares.
I
So
love
look for another Facebook Live to pop up in our group.
Yep.
Later today. I'll have it posted on Tuesday at the same time. This coming Tuesday, the 19th, we will have another Facebook Live. And what we're going to talk about is inviting people to become your customer.
That's right.
Right.
And we're going to focus a lot on the healthcare aspect, but then also on a few of the other services so that everyone can feel really comfortable in how to build that clientele. So I'm excited. It'll be fun,
Awesome.
everyone.
Sounds good. Thank you, Megan and Ryan. Appreciate you both. Thanks everyone for being all of this. We'll see you. Have a great weekend. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Bears.
Thank you. Bye now.